It's been a while. I don't know any of the words. It's been a while. How's it going? Welcome back to the You're Still Here podcast. Did you think it wasn't going to come back? You thought it was? It's always coming back. Sometimes it's like Westworld. All of a sudden this thing leaves for years. You got Stranger Things coming back. That's been gone for years. Don't worry. Be happy because your old pal is back with you. Welcome to the latest installment. I apologize that it's been a little while since I did the most recent podcast. Here's what happened. Money. That's what happened. But in a somewhat positive state of affairs, I've been doing these videos for a sports fan, like a fantasy sports company. Oh no, I told you about this last time. I told you about this, I believe, and I said I started 0-4 or whatever it was. Well, it turns out that whole thing that I told you about the opposite of beginner's luck being true was exactly the case. I went on a tear helping people win money. It's been a fantastic experience because if people are winning money, it means my picks were correct, which meant I'm winning money. And that's exactly what I've done. You got to make money, man. You got to make it or you got to win it, because Lord knows you're not giving it to me, but you can still always do that at any time you want at your earliest convenience. Just go to, you can either go to Venmo, William Wonka, that's me, at William Wonka, and there's a picture of Willy Wonka, even though my Venmo is at William Wonka, or just go to patreon.com/Andy Francess if you want to contribute to the show and my life in general. So anyway, like I said, I've been doing that, and I've just been preoccupied, and that is going to last essentially to the end of the NHL playoffs, which end in early June. That's what we're going to do in the immediate future. But that's not a big deal. It just means I get to cram 2 weeks worth of material into one show. Maybe they'll be more action-packed, and we can really cram that info and everything that's going on in the news, the potpourri. Potpourri means what I think it does, right? Because I always remember that was a category on Jeopardy, potpourri, and that just meant it could be anything. But then why do I believe potpourri is actually like a scent? You put it in your house when you want it to smell better, like it's some sort of air freshener. Oh, can you put out some potpourri? We need to freshen up the smell in here. Anyway, what can we? Where could? Sometimes I don't remember where I left off with you people. I do remember bringing up that I was doing that, but I'm just going to tell you I've been watching a lot of hockey because it's the playoffs, and these are very intense environments. I remember last year when I did an episode, I told you how much into the Islanders playoffs I was, and that it's like the one team I care about, and it was so intense. And I went to this Game 6 last year with the whole playoffs on the line. It was the craziest environment. I had one of the best experiences of my life, followed by one of the worst experiences of my life. But that one game was incredible. And I bring this up because I was watching the Calgary Flames in a game last week where it was for the series. It was to advance in the playoffs. And Calgary was trailing in the third, or they were trailing late in the game, and they scored a goal to tie the game. And it cut to the audience outside. Everyone was losing their mind. Like, it looked like one of the scenes that you'd see in the World Cup where there was a full audience going absolutely wild in the city center. And then in the arena, everyone was going wild. And then it cut to this couple. It cut to this guy who had this rather attractive girlfriend, Grace, and she mustered up a half miserable smile. And I saw it again later in the game. They scored again to go up in the game. Now they have a huge advantage. This was everything in the world. And it cuts to the crowd again outside. Everyone's erupting. Cuts to the audience, like a wide shot. Everybody's erupting. And for some reason, unbeknownst to me, they chose to cut to the same miserable girl, and she faked a miserable smile. And I just want to say something. You shouldn't go to events where you're going to bring down the mood. This whole thing that I've been told in the past, like, well, oh, you got to watch The Bachelor with your girlfriend if she really likes it, because that's what a relationship is. Doing things that the other person likes that you, I guess, kind of have to fake that you're enjoying. Why? It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. When I went to that Islander game, I was with my friends. There's a video that you can watch till the end of time where you see pure elation coming from the both of us. It's emanating from our pores, and our energy's almost feeding off each other. And it's, I'm an 11, and then he's a 12, and he's a 15, and a 20. We're screaming out of the top of my mind. You imagine I took a girl that I was with instead, and I looked over, and she made half the miserable face that I saw from that girl in Calgary, who brought the whole mood down. She brought my mood down, and I was thousands of miles away. She was in Calgary. That's the North Pole compared to where I'm at. And she made me miserable. And she made me miserable for her boyfriend. Why do we do this? Why do we do this? That guy shouldn't be on the couch watching The Bachelor unless he likes it. And that woman should not be at that Calgary Flames game putting on a fake half smile, ruining the experience that should have been for the boyfriend. I'm very much against this whole, you just do things because it's your significant other. Your significant other should take preference on going to a whatever it is that you enjoy that she doesn't, but she's going because apparently that's the rule. That's nonsense. You know it's nonsense deep down. And this is not any sort of bashing on all the great things that couples enjoy together. It's just that going to that playoff game ain't one of them. Sorry. However, there are many girls out there that are huge hockey fans. And if there's a huge hockey fan with another huge hockey fan, fantastic. I'm talking about when you got the Bachelor girl, you got the Keeping Up with the Kardashians girl who watches that with the boyfriend, and then she comes to the game, and you think it's some sort of compromising, but it's really just compounding misery. It's not compromising, it's compounding misery. That's what it's doing. I mean, that's what I was thinking. But, this is what hot chicks will do to you. There's no limitations. There's no limitations. You'll do anything. You'll watch. Like, you remember when you used to watch To Catch a Predator? And granted, I don't want to compare anybody who's just trying to hang out with a hot girl with someone from To Catch a Predator. But I remember when they used to walk in, Chris Hansen used to calmly ask them, like, what are you doing here? Where'd you come from? You drove 280 miles to come see a little boy? You can really just replace little boy with hot girl, because however long they drove on To Catch a Predator, your average guy will drive for that hot girl and more. They'll take flights. They'll do anything. And that's just what they'll do to you. There's no limitations. I remember when I watched that Scientology documentary on HBO, and they talked about, like, I'm going to try to speed this up because, first of all, I don't want to talk trash on those guys. They will ruin my life, and I don't have Leah Remini's show to try to fight back. So Scientology, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just talking about what I saw in the thing, and that I respect. I respect something you did, and I'm about to talk about it. So you guys all know about the IRS, right? Just the known scumbags. They come for your money. They audit you. Nobody has anything pleasant to say about the IRS, I'll tell you that. And nobody beats the IRS. That's the second thing. Well, that was the case. So Scientology, before they were recognized as a religion, wasn't recognized as a religion, which meant they had to pay taxes. And I don't know what the process is of filing for tax-exempt status, but they got the big deny. And the IRS essentially said, you got to pay taxes. And they said, we're a church. This is how they went about going after the IRS. They sent hot girls to the hotels where individual IRS members were staying. So they probably hired private investigators to figure out who exactly was working within the IRS. Then would send hotels to, make them do God knows what. Kind of like Rebecca Romaine Stamos when she found the security guard who was housing Magneto at a bar and then stuck some iron up his ass after she date raped him or whatever she put in his drink. She stuck the iron up his ass, and then the next time the guy went to give Magneto food, Magneto felt the iron, pulled it out of his ass, and broke out of jail. Same type of thing, but not really. They sent hot chicks to the bars where individual IRS members were staying and got them to do things that they could use at a later date, incriminating things. So they did that. And they also launched individual lawsuits on all these different IRS members. Now, not the organization, not the IRS, not the Internal Revenue Service. Johnny Bananas from the IRS. Mike Henson from the IRS. Jane Doe from the IRS. They went for the individuals. They didn't go for the entity. They went for one calf at a time. And it worked. It worked, because think about it. They said, hey, you want all this stuff to go away? You want all the stories about you cheating on your wife at that hotel, hotel? You were at that Motel 6? And it worked. They said, you drop that all and you give us tax-exempt status, or, religious tax-exempt status, all the lawsuits go away, the bad stories go away. There was no Motel 6, and it worked. Scientology beat the IRS, and if nothing else, you got to give them credit for that. Nobody beats the IRS. No, look, I'm not saying, like I said, I saw that documentary, and I'll keep my opinions to myself until I have a platform where, I don't got to be worried about these. Who knows, man? They could always be listening, but anybody could always be listening. So yeah, but that's what Hot Girls. So Hot Girls essentially burrowed Scientology into tax-exempt status. And then I'll talk about something that I recently saw. Now you have this whole thing with Twitter and what's going on there. There's the Elon off again, on again. He's taking it over. People at Twitter hate him because, a whole bunch of reasons. Now, that whole Epstein story, remember that guy, Jeffrey Epstein? Is that one of those names where YouTube auto-recognizes that you said the name and then it just kind of takes your video down? I've heard rumors about things like that. I don't think they're coming for old Andy. However, you remember when that video leaked of that NBC anchor? I don't know who she was talking to, but it looked like she was just kind of getting ready before one of her shows, and she was just talking about the whole thing and how the people at NBC forced her to bury it. It was like a weird video of the cameras rolling in the studio. I don't know how they got it. They sent it to this company, and the company released the videos, and they've released a bunch of like undercover videos. And these undercover videos are of people who work at various organizations, whether tech companies or political organizations or news companies, and essentially just gets them out in a casual environment, and they must wear some hidden camera and tape them saying all sorts of things that your average person wants to know. Like does Instagram shadow ban people? And this random person at Instagram will be like, oh, well, let me tell you, we got a big fat shadow ban button way in the back. And why are they telling these secrets? Why would they just say these secrets to people at a bar? Oh, you know why. Because it's under the guise of hot chicks. So this guy at this company who does these undercover videos, he sets up decoy Tinder accounts. And I guess he has the girls who he has work at his company create these Tinder accounts and only swipe right on people who have their business or job listed as the ones they want to know things from. So that means, I bet you this is what they do. And this is a known thing. It's not fake. You can look this up. They create accounts on Tinder, and if they want to find out what's going on behind the scenes at Twitter, they will keep trying to match with somebody from Twitter and then go on a date with somebody from Twitter and then find out all the things. And why is the person going to spill the beans? Because they're out with the hot girl, and you'll do anything. You can put your job in jeopardy, you can put your kids in jeopardy, you put a hot girl in front of somebody, anything is on the table. And that's what this company does. Now, I used to have a joke. There's a funny scam that this was you know what? How about we introduce there might be multiple scams of the week this time around. First scam of the week, and let's see if I can remember to bring it back to those videos. It's the 1 mile radius sugar. No, that's not that. It's the 1 mile radius rich girlfriend scam. It's the 1 mile radius. How about that? It's the 1 mile radius Tinder scam where not even 1 mile. You set your Tinder. You go to the nicest neighborhood. I'll use a symbol. You're in Los Angeles. You go to Beverly Hills. You go to Bel Air. Or if you just know there's 9 hot girls on a block, you literally go right there and you change your search radius to like 5 blocks, under 1 mile. And you turn on your Tinder or whatever the hell app you use. So it only shows you people that you know are right. If you're meeting somebody in Bel Air, you're getting the cream of the crop over there. So you park yourself, you just like a scumbag who parks next to McDonald's to use their Wi-Fi. I've seen it. One time I pulled up to a red light in Brooklyn and I just saw this guy in his van. And I saw him at the McDonald's page. You know where you have to, I approve the McDonald's Wi-Fi and blah, 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 blah. I saw him hit next on that at the red light. Imagine that. You look to your right and you see a guy just in a van on that page. Well, I saw it. And that's the same thing you're doing when you go in a hot neighborhood and you try to match with all the hot girls in this rich neighborhood like Bel Air. The fresh princesses of Bel Air. It's the fresh princess scam. And I think that's what they have to do. I think this company, the one who runs these sting operations to figure out what they're doing at Facebook and Twitter, I think they park next to the building the same way I said park up in Bel Air. And they change their search radius to like under a half a mile, and they're just trying to swipe right on everyone in the building. That's what they're doing. And I know, see, here's the thing, once again, now it's known that this is being done, and it's only known because they've gotten so many people to admit stuff on hidden camera. But do you imagine 1.5 years, like a year and a half ago, I said, I bet you those people, they have hot girls create decoy profiles on dating apps, and then they park outside the building that they want to know information from, and they swipe right on all these ugly engineers they have working in the building, knowing they won't have the discipline to say no because they've never been out with the hot girl. So then they go out, get some drinks from them at the local bar, and then they spill the beans about the company. If I said that to you, I'm a flat earther. I'm a double stuffed Oreo cream is not the same as single Oreo cream guy. No different than the guy I've always been. Not an overthinker, it's a critical thinker. You're an underthinker. Always remember that. But it's the hot girls that are finding out the answers for us. That's the kink in the armor of everybody. Hot girls, including myself. And, like I've always said, if you're going to create an Instagram account and you're a hot girl, if me and you, we create Instagram accounts, we start at 0 followers, we confirm our email, and we got to build from the ground up. We got to hit that button where find friends in the contacts, import your old Facebook friends. You got to click anything and everything to have 200 followers. You're a hot girl, you got a decent ass. As soon as you confirm your email, you start with 10,000 followers. It's the Instagram nice ass or decent face starter pack. It is. It is. But what else has happened in this last little while here? I know we got Memorial Day coming up. Memorial Day, it's the kickoff to the summer. Despite it usually being like 68 degrees now, I will say it seems like we finally turned the corner and it's warming up. But remember this for future years when it's March 20th and someone goes, no, dude, it's March, we're good. No, it starts to get good end of May. And this is known. This is known now. End of May, that's when the temperature starts getting better and picking up. So you got Memorial Day, which kicks off the summer. And then you have Labor Day that ends the summer. And if you compare the crowds, it's always so funny because Memorial Day, traditionally, COVID threw a wrinkle in the whole thing. That's usually that, people have been there, their whole workout cycle to look good for the summer. Every day, people come into Memorial Day weekend guns blazing. That's when there is so much fun to be had Memorial Day weekend. And then Labor Day weekend, it's kind of the opposite. It's like people are on their last legs just trying to limp their way to fall. You know what I'm saying? If you can take the same type of bar, like if you go to a party at one place on Memorial Day weekend and go to that same place Labor Day weekend, go match those energies. You know, when you go to a stadium for a game and they have that noise-o-meter, that's it always goes up to red. I'm convinced that's just a pre-played video, and if there wasn't one person in the whole crowd, it would go all the way to the tip and come back a little bit, generating the energy. It is. That's not what technology did they implement at the Nassau Coliseum that knows the exact decibel level and it keeps teetering up and down? No, it's just a video that plays. However, imagine that was real and you went to a bar on Memorial Day weekend. That needle's gonna go higher than it is on Labor Day weekend. And 4th of July, rightfully so, is probably right in the middle. And I think it's kind of like a microcosm of when you go on vacation. When you go on like a week-long vacation, let's say you're going to Mexico and you get there on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you are going hard. But how are you doing that next Tuesday or Wednesday? You're limping out to the bars. You're limping out to the restaurant. You're almost saying, I want to go home, man. I'm kind of over this. And that's what Labor Day weekend is. I'm kind of over this. When is college football starting? When is the NFL week 1? I'm over this thing. And that's why Memorial Day weekend should be a good one. It should be a good one. So you go out there, you have fun, but don't be one of the people who thinks actual Memorial Day plans are good. Saturday's good, Sunday's good. Monday night, you got work Tuesday. A lot of Tuesday workers, so always, unless it's a barbecue on Monday, you try to get that partying in Saturday and Sunday. Those are the prime 2 days of Memorial Day for the partiers out there. One thing that I wanted to bring up, my brother, his girlfriend, she went to, it's not the full study abroad, but it's like a 4-week thing, and I'm trying to remember exactly where she went. In like she's in Singapore, she's somewhere. She's somewhere in Asia. I don't remember which country specifically. It's not any of the big 3. No. It's not Japan, China, or either of the. Well, it's obviously not North Korea. Imagine that. Yeah, she's doing a quick 3-month thing in North Korea. She's never going to come back. But you got to see some of these texts that they're exchanging with each other. I'm going to paraphrase. I'm obviously not calling anybody out here. But like, oh my God, this place, it only has 2 outlets. Only 2. And it made me think, speaking of those Koreas, like, how in South Korea, I believe you're forced to serve 2 years in the military, and many countries have this implemented. Well, we need to just have that same thing. Nothing military related. Just to go there. You should have to just spend months in other places so that when you come home, we need reappreciation trips. Okay? Remember how I told you about that scam show they have going on with Nick Lachey? What was that one called? I already don't remember it. Where they go to that hotel in Austin, Texas and decide, The Ultimatum. It came back to me. But we need to have one of those type of things. You know how they say like, me and Nick, we needed to leave each other to appreciate each other. Once again, that could not be wrong anymore wrong. I do not advise doing that whatsoever. I don't know who the hell am I though. But that's what we need to do with people here who need to appreciate having more than 2 outlets and being able to charge all your iPhones and having fresh Wi-Fi. We need to do that the same way that you remember the Korean zombie in the UFC. He just had to leave for 2 years to serve. We have to serve time, just not militarily, socially and casually. And then we come back like, oh, nice. That's some fresh AC, 66. I think I want to talk a little bit more about girlfriends. I told you about that girl at the Flames game, just looked completely miserable. And then also, I saw on the last time that I did a live, I was asked, hey, talk about this situation, this Brendan Schaab, Bobby Kelly situation. This is, I guess, it's a YouTube drama, but they're two comedians, so it's a drama between performers. And I guess, from what I understand, sorry, like I said, I've been busy, but Brendan Schaab, the ex-UFC guy who does a podcast and does comedy now, he kind of got called out for trying to hook up with Bobby Lee's wife or fiance, whatever she is, girlfriend. And now there's just a big beef between them. And it also has to do with like Brendan Schaab. Here's my whole opinion on it, because I'm just wasting time explaining it. You can look into it. Just look up Brendan Schaab, Bobby Kelly. There's a bunch of drama videos. This doesn't do it for me. Like, this never did it for me. I don't watch the Kardashians. I don't watch reality shows. I don't watch so much of this because it's just, nothing comes out of this to me. Let's say I figure it out. Then what? Like, oh my God, and then he tried hooking up with her? Okay, congratulations. Well, what do you think's going on in Hollywood? Haven't you learned anything from the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp thing that's going on? That's what happens when you actually know. Okay? You know, you want to peel back the layers of this onion, all you're going to get is what you're hearing on a daily basis from the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp trial. They're a bunch of nonsense, rat bastard, weird people. I told you this many times. Look, at least on the comedy circuit, there's clearly a higher contingent of normal people, but look how wild. Did you hear some of those tapes from Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? They're absolutely crazy. They're outrageous. And that's what happened. You want to know what's truly going on behind the scenes? That's what's going on behind the scenes with all these Hollywood relationships. Oh my God, Andy, all of them? No, I don't know, but most of them. I tried telling you it's a weird-ass place with weird-ass rules. You just listen to the tapes. Listen to the tapes. You know, there's real issues going on out there. Like the formula shortage. Man, you want to talk about something that just doesn't affect me at all? The formula shortage. I saw this girl. I'm sorry. Once in a while, you're going to get something like this from me. But I saw this girl, breasts, tits, whatever term you want to use. And I don't know why. I guess I still have it in me to just say a dick line every once in a while. But like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar. You remember when in the elevator? Remember in the elevator when he's like, when she goes, oh, everyone here is so nice to me. He just, well, that's because you got big jugs. He just says that to the girl. But at least Jim Carrey was under a spell. His son blew that birthday candle and wished that his dad couldn't lie. And his dad couldn't lie. So that's why he said the thing to the girl with the big jugs. I had no reason other than I just thought it was a clever comment. She just had massive jugs. I was like, well, hey, look, at least you're not worried about this formula shortage. And I didn't get as much of a laugh as I would have hoped. But that's what I get. That's what I get. Yeah, it was a night out. It happens, right? Right? Wrong. There is something I do want to mention about it, because I said that to this girl at a bar, and this was right after leaving a bar that was attached to a piano bar. And I just want to say, I fucking despise piano bars. I still don't understand what the hell they are. Go on somebody's iPhone. No one has piano music. So why all of a sudden are these piano bars a thing? Why going to a place listening to a guy playing the piano is my night out now? I don't understand this. Nobody does this. Nobody goes out looking for piano bar. I go to somebody's house. If I started playing the piano, I'm a piece of shit. Now we're doing this on a Friday night. We're going to listen to somebody play the piano, and this is our bar that we're going to? No, but it's dueling piano bars. They got two guys that are dueling. I don't give a shit about one who wins. How do you win a piano duel? And here's the answer. I don't want to know, because regardless, I'm not going to be... Picture me dancing, all right? Compare this. A piano bar, dueling piano bars, fine, so you got two of them. And then right next to it, you have a bar with a DJ blasting some of the most popular songs on the fucking air right now. Guess which one is more fun, ladies and gentlemen? And it's not the piano bar. It's the generic local DJ who's hitting play on his iTunes. That is always going to be the more lively environment. I don't get this. You know what? You may as well. I already used a scam of the week, but a piano bar, that's another scam. I don't know what it is. It's like they somehow tried to paint this thing that nobody really, like, nobody's into pianos. How many classical music friends do you have? How many? And that is how I feel about piano bars. And piggybacking off of that, that's also how I feel. You guys aren't going to like this one, but I had friends who visited Nashville recently. That's why I probably am not a Nashville guy. We've talked about this many times about Nashville, me, country, not looking like a country guy. However, this isn't just Nashville with their live music, but this extends to people, and this may be you in some point in the near future, or maybe you've already done it, or maybe you've been to many weddings. If you're having a wedding, you should never do live music. Ever, ever. I've been to a plethora of weddings, and when you gauge, just like I said, that noise meter from the Nassau Coliseum, like, "Grow!" The DJ weddings always had a higher threshold for ruckus and fun than the band, because the band is limited. There's only a certain amount of songs they can hit, and there's just a different vibe. Everybody's not going wild ever for, for whatever the hell. What is he playing? Ozzy Osbourne. I'm going after him on the crazy train. That's not working. Okay? Just blast Usher, yeah, and the whole place will get up and start dancing. It ain't working with the live band. I hate live bands. Oh, man, that one probably strikes an angry chord with some of you, but I don't like them. I do not like them. I think that they hurt vibes more than they help, unless it's live music that people are specifically gathering to see. Are you going to the Warped Tour? Then yeah, sure, live music is great. You going to Coachella? Yeah, absolutely. I'm talking about the generic, what do you call those bands? What are bands who just play popular songs called again? Whatever they are, that's what I'm talking about. Just get the DJ. A teenager can do it, and it will elicit a way better vibe than the live music. All right. Now let me take one last quick second and think if there's anything that I want to talk to you guys about, because many times I go into this saying, oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and then I just kind of forget. You know how pissed off I am sometimes when I end this? I'm like, all right, well, that's it. And then as soon as it's over, I'm like, oh my God, what about this, that, and the other? Oh, I remember. All right, so this is one last thing. Here comes, I told you I had scams for you. I'll make up for some lost time. Here's another scam. I told you about how my brother's girlfriend had to go to Asia for this 1 month summer thing to maybe get some credits. Well, this required like 8 hours, and there was just flights galore. And then I think she brought up the jet lag, like fasting to assimilate to the time. Well, you gotta fast and then sync it up with the time you get there, and then you're fine. No, you're not. That's just it's the jet lag fasting scam, where you try to starve yourself, hoping that by the time you get there, you're just so hungry, and then what? You eat a big meal and go to sleep. I don't even know what this is, but I just know it's bullshit. You want to figure out how to beat the whole system? Stay up and get a red-eye flight. That's it. That's how you win. I don't care if it's a 16-hour flight. Stay up as long as you possibly can, and then try to wake up whenever the hell it is when you're there. And if you sleep awful, by the way, that's a good thing. You fight your way through the day, and you're so tired, you go to sleep, and you wake up, it's the morning, and you're fine. None of this, you don't have to not eat this for a day and a half, and then eat freaking Fruit Loops when you get there, whatever the hell they do. It's a scam. Don't do it. Eat a nice big fat chocolate Hershey's bar. You want to hear something quick? On my way back from Sweden, there was something that aided my sleep on the way. And there's just a picture of me. I got up. I hardly even remember this. I somehow ordered a king-sized Hershey's with almonds bar. And literally, like in a half coma, my friend took a picture of it. I'm eating this massive chocolate bar while sleeping on a flight from Sweden all the way back to New York. And what a way to end this one. What a scattered episode, but this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be. I just wanted to make sure I got one to you to say, hey, remember me? I just have been a little short for time lately, but I'm happy that I was able to get around to this, put this out there for you guys to enjoy. Just talking random nonsense. As always, if there's anything you want me to talk about, just let me know. If you know me, shoot me a text. I'll talk about it. Oh, I actually do. You know what? Somebody did do that. And it would be, let's see how long this is. How long are we doing? Do I have time? As if like, well, I'm on the air and there's going to be something. This one last thing I'll end with. My friend told me that, you know what? Sports betting videos. It's for a company called Awesemo and Odds Shopper. They're posted on YouTube. You can see me talk NHL if you happen to like hockey. I give all my daily picks, and they've all been doing well. And if you want to see a familiar face right here, oh, that's what that Stanley Cup is right there. It's the same set with a Stanley Cup. That's where I deliver my picks from. But until next time, take it easy. Have a good one. As I say bye for the 50th time. But that's like, when you're with a girl and you're kind of into each other. And this used to be the case when people talk on the phone, but now 100% of plans don't happen and nobody talks to each other. There's FaceTime. But they're like, all right, take it easy, bye. And there would be like 8 buys before the real buy. There were the fake buys, the real buys. But I guess those are all gone. Bye. Take it easy.